Welcome back to my Stories of Scale podcast, hosted by me, Jonathan Herps. In the podcast, I chat with business owners and CEOs of scaling companies. It centers around their entrepreneurial journey so far and their aspirations for their companies and themselves. Today, I'm speaking to Nathan Wardell, Managing Director of Packserv. Welcome, Nathan.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to our conversation. So tell me, just quickly, what's your origin story? What key moments have led you to where you are today? And can you tell me a little bit about your business?
Yeah, sure. So out of high school, I started a chef's apprenticeship, and along the way decided it wasn't for me. And so I went and completed all my accounting qualifications with RMIT. So I was offered to come into a family business when I was in high school, which I declined. I didn't want to get into packaging and manufacturing. I thought there were more exciting things to do than work in a factory, but here I find myself working in a factory and loving it. So it's funny to have come full circle and back to probably what is a family tradition of sorts. My grandfather was involved in fast-moving consumer goods packaging and manufacturing, as was my father, who designed and built packaging machinery. And I eventually, after trying a few different things, and I had 7 years in corporate accounting with brands like Wardell, McCann Erickson, Fuji Xerox from an accounting field, found my way back to packaging and manufacturing via coming into doing his books and running the accounting side of his business before embarking on all of the technical stuff that comes afterwards, which is pneumatics, hydraulics, electrical, mechanical, packaging, automation, all those things, which I then had to pick up afterwards as a second set of skills and trades. One of our sons is now working in our business as well. So I suppose that makes us 4 generations in packaging and manufacturing. But after spending 11 years building my dad's business, he retired and sold that business, and I had to start all over again from scratch, hence Packserv. So I did 11 years with Rentokil as the general manager, and then I've now in our 19th year with Packserv. So I suppose that's nearly 30 odd years that I've been in packaging and manufacturing, and 4 generations of my family that have been involved in the industry as well.
So tell me just a little bit about Packserv.
Sure.
Who's your ideal customer?
Yeah, sure. In the earlier days, we were always a member of AusBuy and a staunch supporter of Australian Made, and we're a member of the Australian Made organisation as well. Not just in the machinery that we manufacture, but in the businesses that we support and supply as well. So over that 30 odd years, we've supplied a multitude of different businesses, from small startups and home businesses through to large multinational organizations with manufacturing facilities globally, and providing them with packaging machinery and technical support for their manufacturing operations. So with a staunch support behind Australian Made and manufacturing machinery here in Australia, we're one of the last and remaining only genuine manufacturers of packaging machinery, if not machinery generally in Australia. It has died off. Manufacturing hasn't had a good run over the last couple of decades, but here we are successfully thriving in packaging and manufacturing, building machinery right here in Sydney. So that's exciting. What it is that we do, we provide packaging machinery for fast-moving consumer goods. So anything on a supermarket shelf, basically. So filling, capping, labeling, batch coding, bar coding, conveyors, container handling equipment, anything that goes into I suppose a good example is the shampoo at home in the shower. We make the machine that puts the shampoo in the bottle, tightens the cap, wraps the labels around it, prints a code, puts it in a box, and gets it ready for shelf. So we are involved in that subliminal, yet perhaps not as glamorous industry of packaging factory automation. That's where we sit. In terms of our clients, a whole myriad of different clients, from small startups to big companies, as I said, and a multitude of different machines and technologies that we provide them.
It's interesting you talk about Australian owned and made. One of my clients, he's in I'll call it the medical equipment space. He is seeing, and it's a significant, we've grown from about 8 million revenue to about 25 in the last 3 years. So not an insignificant business. He is seeing a competitive advantage manufacturing here in Australia. Contracts from people, I think groups like the New South Wales Government Health, looking very favourably at businesses that are actually manufacturing here. So
yeah.
Hopefully there's an increased future.
There is actually, and we are seeing good, strong indicators of the resurgence of FMCG packaging and manufacturing in Australia, as well as our manufacturing sector. I think during COVID, a lot of businesses went under. It hasn't been an easy time, I suppose, over the last 5 years, particularly with SMEs, which is our marketplace. In terms of getting through, anyone that got through COVID, that was a particularly difficult time for manufacturers. But then to be backed up with this interest rates inflation thing, again, the last 18 months hasn't necessarily been a picnic either. But we are seeing good results and some good indicators that things are turning. But I suppose being an Australian manufacturer, we've got our own CAD/CAM capabilities here and CNC machine shop, as well as traditional machine shop and fitters and fabricators. When there is a requirement, we can generally provide equipment or a technical solution within hours, if not days. Some other manufacturers are quoting 3, 6, 9, even up to 12 months delivery times on new machinery. And so that adaptive capability of Packserv to be able to design, build, machine, manufacture, and install. So we're in 5 out of 8 states around Australia, and we've got technicians and vans on the road. And often we're installing multiple machines on any given day in multiple states. And so our ability to be able to provide short lead times and immediate solutions and have machinery ready to go is a significant advantage. And we are doing everything that we can to support FMCG manufacturing.
I'm going to go off script a bit with a question you don't know about. So I'm assuming that leads to a significant service component in your business as well.
Absolutely. We started out as technical services and rentals. And I suppose that's a key difference in Packserv compared to a lot of the rest of the industry. And that is, I don't know of anyone else locally in Australia, let alone internationally, that does things as flexibly as we do. And that is, we have technical services, if somebody has a breakdown, maintenance, support, that sort of thing. But we also have an extensive rental fleet of hundreds of machines right around Australia. And you can hire anything from a day to a week to permanent. A lot of our machinery is out under permanent hire, so we look after the service and maintenance. We then offer a leasing option and a rent to buy option. And then we've also got our sales, manufacturing, custom engineering, fabrication, and installation. So in terms of the different facets of the business, we have about 7 or 8 different revenue streams, from online stores to parts to engineering, fabrication, repairs, maintenance, breakdown, in addition to our stock standard service offerings, which is our rentals, rent to buy, sales, and finance leasing.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Can you tell me a bit about your daily habits and or routines? What's a typical day look like for you as the managing director? And what habits do you credit with your success?
Martial arts has been a significant part to play in. It's one of those things. It's funny for me to think about it now in terms of what's had a significant part. It really has had a profound impact on me in a business sense, going and studying a discipline like martial arts. I would say that's something I would recommend to anybody, to be physically fit and mentally disciplined and have good routines in health and fitness. So my boys and I have always trained in different dojos, and I've recently turned 50. I still feel 35, but I've just turned 50 and I'm still aspiring with competition fighters in the Muay Thai gym. And I find that does a lot for me mentally in terms of managing stress, but also giving me a resilience and a mental toughness to be able to do what it is that I do in dealing with everything that goes along with running a business that is as complex yet simple and small as Packserv is.
It's interesting you say that. I coach my son's rugby team, and the boys are typically not large. We're from Darrell, Southern Highlands, but we play teams with large Islander heritage kids, boys and girls. Like, some of them are ginormous. And one of the things we're doing this year is introducing the boys to a structured jiu-jitsu program to help them learn how to use their own weight to tackle a child who's much bigger than they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think any sort of physical activity is a really good start. In terms of my day, I might start with a run. My wife and I are vegetarian, and I find that's had a significant health impact as well. Meditation and just generally taking enough time to be able to decompress and de-stress on a daily basis is key and critical. Being surrounded by a talented team of people is also key. It's much easier to rein in a stallion than it is to flog a donkey, was an expression I heard once. And I'm fortunate enough to work with a really talented group of people that we have a meeting, we come together, we strategize and talk about what the issues are or the objective is, and then allowing the team freedom to then go away, structure their own plan that they own. And with that ownership piece and that responsibility for them to be able to come up with a plan and then go and execute it, really, it goes a long way in terms of increasing our success habits.
Great, thank you. And you talked a little bit about it, but how do you balance your personal life with the demands of leading a scaling company and running the business?
It can be tricky on a day-to-day basis. We have 4 kids, my wife and I, and everything that goes along with them. So there's a lot of home economics and home management that goes along with getting a good work-life balance. But the kids are now 16 through 22, so it's not like they need full-time care all the time. Having older children is a lot easier to manage than having toddlers and children in primary school. I remember those days. So we do have a lot more freedom now to start earlier, finish later, travel for work, travel interstate for meetings. And with a business that has multiple locations, being able to have the flexibility to spend time in those locations with those teams is key as well. So making a face-to-face appearance goes a long way, and it's good to be able to build rapport and build relationships with your team, even if they are in other locations.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that I've got a 10-year-old and
it just keeps getting better, Jonathan. Don't worry.
I'm just looking out the window and it's pouring with rain, almost horizontal at the moment. Yes, I'm coaching the rugby team at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So listen, tell me about a large failure or a major challenge that you ran up against, and how did you handle it, and what would you have done differently?
The major challenge, I think, was COVID, and that affected a lot of businesses, particularly in the service or face-to-face industry or industries. Fortunately for us, we were able to negotiate an essential services status, which enabled us to continue operating. Whilst challenging in that half the business went remote and the other half were in limited availability, we were able to work out a way to do car park deliveries and installations to our clients. So machinery was still able to go out, installation still took place, and we basically just had to transition to a car park delivery service that wasn't on site, but still be able to provide all the technical services that we needed to do. So often we were setting up and installing machinery in parking lots and then walking away from it as the technical team of the recipient came out to collect it and put it in place. So that was challenging. There was a lot of businesses that struggled with lead times, but we invested a lot in developing our own manufactured range, in that we had multiple CNC machines in our own traditional machine shop. And so when other people were struggling with supply chains, we were busy manufacturing components, and we just had to diversify the number of components and which components we were able to make technically, and be able to make our own parts and set our own lead times. That was a significant game changer for us. During the more recent challenges and with this interest rates inflation situation, from a cash flow perspective, if we were just a manufacturer, that would have been difficult. But having a diverse business model that incorporates rentals, rent to buys, sales, technical services, parts, and custom engineering, we tend to find that in different market conditions, different aspects of the business do well. So I can't speak highly enough for diversification. If there's another way that you can provide your goods or services, I'd absolutely recommend pursuing that. That's been a game changer for us to facilitate our rental business by not waiting on suppliers providing us with machinery, being able to provide technical support by not waiting on international supply chains or other third-party manufacturing, and being able to offer our products via rent-to-buys, leasing, and hire. We don't have to necessarily wait for the marketplace to have the available resources and capital to be able to purchase the machinery, even when the interest rates are high. We can put in interim solutions with short-term lead times and basically get customers up and running in a faster amount of time than anyone else.
Nathan, who manages your rent-to-buy and finance options? Is that in-house or?
We do. All of those facilities are available in-house directly through us. So we're not paying a premium elsewhere. If somebody wants a significant, like a full factory installation or multiple lines, or it starts running up to significant amounts of money, or the equipment is customized and obscure, and it's not something that we can easily roll back into our rental fleet, which is another service that we offer. Having a rental business, we can roll machinery back into our rental fleet. So we offer a buyback trade-in, a situation where people can upgrade. So for machinery that can't do that, and it is customized and specialized, we would then refer to our finance partner, Finlease, for anything that is. If somebody wants to perhaps finance something obscure over a 5-year period, we might send that up to someone else's booklet with Finlease. But if it's something short-term, 6, 12, 18 months, and it's one of our custom core ranges, our standard core ranges of machines, we'll just run that book ourselves.
So you've got me fascinated. It's because I've got 2 clients who I think that what you've just been talking about will be phenomenally insightful for them.
Okay.
Whose idea was it?
In terms of the business, the structure, the business model?
No, in terms of we're going to lease, we're going to rent, all of that. Was that you, or was it one of your team?
Market conditions really open up our eyes to what the available opportunities are. So I don't want to take full credit for everything that the business has ever done, but these aren't new products and services that we've just realized and brought to market. These are products and services that we've always offered. And it's literally just a case of speaking with the client. The answer is never no, which was an interesting point to get to. In our training with our sales team, every single call you make is a successful call, because it doesn't really matter whether someone's looking for a purchase. If they're not ready, they might want a rental. If they don't want to do that, then they're looking for finance. They might want a rent to buy. And if they don't even want a piece of machinery, then there's still technical services, custom engineering, maintenance, our online store, parts and accessories. It doesn't really matter. There is always an opportunity to be able to be of assistance. It's not a case that we go to a customer with one product, with one delivery model, and they either like it or they don't, or it suits or it doesn't. We go with an open book and we ask them, what's it that you need? How is it that we can help you? And that changes the conversation in that we're not trying to do a hard sell of this is the one product and the one way we deliver it. It's a soft sell. How can we help you? What is it that you need? And we'll design something that suits.
That's a fabulous insight. Thank you. What's the best advice you've ever received? And how did it impact you personally or business-wise? And can you tell me who gave you the advice?
My mum, actually. I can remember my mum asking me to paint her ceiling one weekend. And I remember being up on a chair and I was upset about the end of a relationship. And I was looking for some kind words of encouragement or some sympathy or some empathy or something. Instead of that, my mum said to me, "Pucker up, this is nothing." And that was profound in that it's a piece of advice that I've always taken with me, in that things can always get worse, and they have. Things are always going to be difficult, and they can be, and everything is a phase, and you'll get through this phase and there'll be another phase. It rains and then the sun comes out. It's one of those things to not get too caught up in any particular moment in time that it's going to be there forever, to understand that it is just temporary, it is just a phase, and you have to rejoice in the sunshine and you have to bunker down in the rain. And that's just the nature of the beast. And I suppose it was a motto for life, in that it's not always going to serve you peaches and cream. It's just not the way it is. There's going to be hard times and you should just get on with it. Is
your mum still with us?
Yeah.
You want to get her to listen to what you just talked about. It's in the 118, 19 of these we've done. It's interesting how often the parents or relative comes up, and in every time I've said, make sure she listens to it, the parent or whoever has got huge pleasure out of it. So what do you reckon is your biggest learning as a business owner? What's one learning that perhaps has been pivotal to your growth?
Patience. It doesn't happen overnight. Good things take time, and just to roll with the punches. And I think I did 11 years at Rentiful, where I was the general manager of my dad's business. And the harder I worked, the more the business grew. So when I went out on my own and started this business in 2007, in January, I was met with the GFC in our first year, and then a slight breath of fresh air, and then the second GFC. And then a year later, we had a slump in the manufacturing sector. And then we had a borderline recession. And then we've had COVID. And then we've had this interest rates inflation thing. And there's definitely been some lessons in resilience and toughness, and just deciding what it is that you want, and then working out how to get it, breaking it down into pieces, and then step by step going about acquiring it. There's nothing fancy or shiny and glamorous about that. It's just a matter of just breaking things down into pieces and working out what it is that you want specifically and how it is that you're going to acquire it, and having the guts and the resilience to keep getting after it.
Great piece of advice, thank you. So I'm not sure if you can hear in the background, I've got two children running up the driveway with garbage bins. It sounds like they're fighting at the same time. So I apologise to you all if you can hear it.
Not at all. In the early days of the business, I used to take my toddler with me after giving him his morning bottle, and I'd take him downstairs and I'd put him in between my arms on my desk while I typed emails. Yep. And often he would pick up the phone while I was on phone calls with clients. So quite familiar with working with the children. My children were definitely a big part of the early days of the business. They'd even come out on site and do installations with me, and we put them in safety vests and hairnets and ask them to hold tools, and they had a great time. They love it.
I agree.
But you just got to be prepared to embrace those moments. So look, if they start playing cricket with the garbage bins, I think that's great.
No, I agree. It's an interesting lesson, actually, because I was writing a blog about this earlier, about time management as an entrepreneur. I'm an older father, I'm 65, and we were blessed that we were able to adopt two kiddies from Ethiopia 10, 11 years ago now. And
Wow, wonderful.
and so one of the decisions I made when we came back to Australia, we'd been living overseas. When we came back to Australia, was I was going to design a life around, not totally around my children, but yeah.
Yep.
So they've never had to carry a key to go to school because I'm always here when they come home. And it's that planning your life as an entrepreneur and that personal versus business is a key trick in my view.
Yeah, if you wait for everything to be perfect and the planets to align, it's just never going to happen. And if you're waiting for a quiet moment and you can't find it, just embrace the noise.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So listen, let's pivot slightly. Leadership team. What is there a particular single trait that makes a leadership team truly exceptional? And how, as a leader, do you cultivate your leadership team?
I think a key trait of a good leadership team is autonomy, not in that they don't keep you abreast of what it is that they're doing, but they are able to think for themselves and devise a plan, run it past you, and then put it into motion. And so I think a key part of a good executive team or a good leadership team is that they're able to self-lead. And what have I done to nurture that is to offer constant training opportunities and courses, but also the freedom to be able to devise plans and to bring me a solution rather than just a problem. I love it when people come to me with a solution of how they're going to fix something rather than a problem and they don't know what to do. That's a key difference between a team that's going to design where they're going and work out how they're going to get there, as opposed to someone who's waiting for me to tell them what to do next. As any business grows, particularly any business as it's growing, if everybody waits to talk to you, to ask you what it is that they should do next, you're just going to be spoon feeding and micromanaging and babysitting all day. And the business is going to be hamstrung by your ability to be able to speak faster.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And yeah, the issue, it's interesting. One of the key reasons clients come to me is because they're so stuck working in the business.
Yeah.
They can't get onto it because they haven't got the right leadership team in place. And what you've just mentioned about coaching them to come to you with solutions rather than problems, it's a key force multiplier.
Absolutely. Huddles is important. So there's different huddles that happen at different times with different departments. And sometimes we'll bring everybody together and actually have a full company and get together to make sure everyone knows what we're doing and how we're doing it and where we're going. Other times it will be broken down into teams or divisions of the business, and that might be more on a weekly basis. But then generally on a morning basis, every single morning, we would generally have a morning catch up via an open office. And I love an open office. I don't have a door in my office. I don't even have an office. I've got a desk in a room with a whole bunch of other people that also have desks. And I think that's the best structure for open communication, because technical can hear what manufacturing is doing, and accounts can hear what manufacturing is doing, and manufacturing are paying attention to what's going on with marketing, and everyone can overhear my phone calls as well. And so in that habitat, we're able to have really good continual flow of information and communication in between departments. And so if there's an accounts issue, technical won't book a service call, for example, or there'll be an issue where a customer needs to be contacted because manufacturing is running late, or that cross communication between departments of information and the sharing of information only helps everybody function better. And we have less misses. We have less situations that then need to go back and get redealt with. And everyone can talk openly, and it just creates if nothing else, it creates a good bond between the team. It creates an opportunity for everybody to get to know each other better and to bond and come together as a team. And I really like that dynamic in our office.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think you've been reading my playbook.
I might have. It's probably similar to a lot of other stuff that I adopt myself in my own business. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if anybody listening would like a copy of my playbook on how to meeting rhythms, huddles, and the like, just ping me a note at the bottom of the show notes and I'll send it to you.
I strongly recommend it.
Yeah, thank you. So any last parting words of advice for business owners looking to grow? Or is there one thing that you'd encourage them to focus on?
Resilience. It's not going to happen overnight. I think we've been waiting for the US election to get out of the way and for the Fed to drop its rates, which is now underway. I don't think anyone's predicted the tariff issues that have been following. I think that's a complication. World peace would be nice. Let's just keep our fingers crossed for that as well. But to follow on from the US, where we are now moments, I suppose, away from getting through our own onshore election, and RBA is now dropping our rates as well, which is fantastic. And whilst we're seeing some of those key indicators go past and now starting to see some signs that things are about to start turning, I think it's a case of not if, but when the marketplace picks back up again, our economy starts to flow again, a resurgence of onshore manufacturing and FMCG. I would love for there to be a greater focus on what we can do onshore rather than what we can import from other countries. And I'd love to see all of that come together over the course of this calendar year. And I think we are coming off the bottom of the curve in terms of perhaps what is a 10-year cycle. And I'd love to be right in predicting that over the next 6 to 12, 18 months, we're going to see continual gains and continual growth in terms of Australia's economy, our onshore manufacturing, and in particular FMCG. It'd be great to start seeing that take place. And I think we at Packserv are well positioned to be able to help and support that and encourage it taking place as well. Because as new businesses start, we're going to have an expensive access to cash and capital, which is going to lead people more to needing a rental solution. And they might not want to buy something outright, but we've got a rent to buy. And then as businesses grow and they upgrade and they scale, and hopefully we are looking at increasing our exports and our GDP, then people are going to want to be investing in longer term situations where they're going to be purchasing new machinery, setting up new facilities. And we're now starting to see some government funding coming through as well in some instances where companies are now receiving funding to grow and expand and invest into long-term goals and aspirations for manufacturing. And I think these are all good positive signs, and it's nice to see Australia coming off the bottom of this curve, and I only see good things happening in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm going to go back to your comment, perseverance.
Yes.
It's a long-term game, isn't it?
It is. It is absolutely a long-term game, and you've got to be patient, and you've got to have some grit and some resilience, and you've got to have some strength and some character, and I think just keep pushing. Yeah.
I totally agree. Nathan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. It was a pleasure to be on the show, and thank you so much for this opportunity to have a chat with you and catch up about business, but also this podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, and I look forward to promoting you and the business. There are so many really good insights in there, so I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate that.